Longer, wider, bigger, stronger. This is the current motto in the smartphone market, and Apple has unfortunately buried the iPhone mini with the 14 series and instant launch another giant smartphone, the iPhone 14 Plus. In my opinion, this was a big mistake, and if you believe the rumors, Apple is also dissatisfied with the sales figures of the iPhone 14 Plus. I simply ask whether it is not the Pro models sell better because they also have the best technology installed in it. Anyway, I've been using the iPhone 13 mini for about 6 months now, and I think it's the most underrated device in Apple universe, and in this video I'll tell you about my impressions. Before the iPhone 13 mini I used the iPhone 13 Pro Max for a year, and yes, it's a downgrade from the iPhone 13 Pro Max to the mini, but to my surprise the differences for me was not as big as expected. And the iPhone 13 mini has its advantages, and I have learned to love it in the short time now. The first big advantage is already in the name, namely the size. I am someone who, when buying a smartphone, first buys tempered glass and a cover for protection. The already large iPhone 13 Pro Max took on gigantic dimensions, and it was no longer possible to carry it inconspicuously in my pocket. This is completely different for the iPhone 13 mini. Even with the case, it fits easily into any pocket and can be used with one hand without any problems. As for the design, it can of course be said that the mini just looks fantastic and adopts a good design language from the 13 series. I don't like the notch, but I like the dynamic island from the 14 series even less because it's further down the display than at the top. I like that you can hold the mini 6 meters underwater for 30 minutes, although I hope that never happens. Of course, the Pro Max 120Hz display is much better, which is immediately noticeable. However, the Mini also has a very sharp display with a resolution of 1080 by 2340 pixels and 476 pixels per inch. But these are exactly that points that Apple does wrong in my opinion. A 120Hz display would have been very nice here and would probably have led to similar battery runtimes with an adaptive refresh rate. I will come to the battery later, but I would like to talk about the performance first. The Mini uses the same A15 Bionic processor as the Pro Max, and the standard iPhone 14 versions also use this processor, which is so powerful that the Mini is still one of the fastest smartphones on the market. Even though 4GB of RAM doesn't sound like much anymore, I never had any problems or stutters. Everything runs very smoothly. I show a few benchmark results and say that you will be able to enjoy the Mini for many years to come, since Apple handles updates better than any other company. I definitely have to address the major disadvantages compared to the larger smartphones. I don't know if it's just me, but despite having such small hands, I've never made as many mistakes when typing as I did with the iPhone 13 mini. It was really hard to get used to the small keyboard, and I still make a few mistakes to this day. Let's go to the cameras. We have two lenses, 2x 12 megapixel for main and wide angle. Unfortunately, no zoom camera. However, the cameras are very good, and maybe it's because of the size, it's fun to take pictures with the Mini. What surprised me was that the quality is good in daylight anyway, but the photo quality is also at a very high level at night. The video quality is also the usual high iPhone level, and I'm going to show you a few photos and videos so that you can form your own impression. Now let's talk about the battery, 2438 mAh. I heard that iPhone 12 mini users in particular should be satisfied with the battery life of the iPhone 13 mini, and of course this is mainly because the battery life of the iPhone 12 mini was very bad. I used the iPhone 13 Pro Max before, and let's put it in this way, it wasn't easy for me. I can't say that I always got through the day, but if you are a heavy user you will definitely have to load it from time to time. Fast charging is a difficult topic at Apple anyway, after all you get to 50% in 30 minutes, and of course there's no power adapter included in the scope of delivery. Of course, the Mini also has the option of charging wirelessly or with MagSafe. I don't want to make the video unnecessarily longer. In conclusion, I can say that the iPhone 13 mini is the most underrated Apple device for me, and I really wish Apple would bring a successor. Maybe an iPhone 15 mini. At the top of my wish list are a 120Hz display, a zoom camera, and if technically possible, a slightly better battery life. I am convinced that if Apple didn't cut too many corners compared to the Pro models, the Mini would sell well, provided the pricing was fair. And while producing this video, I noticed how difficult it is to offer the iPhone Mini attractively. There shouldn't be any major differences compared to the Pro models, but the price must also be lower because people decide on the Pro models when the prices are similar. But what do you think? Do you use an iPhone Mini and will there be a successor? What would Apple have to do better to make the Mini sell better? Write it in the comments, leave a like and subscribe, and until the next video, have a good time.